just a dichotomy of like where you are and the site that you're on. And I think that's what made that place so appealing for, Michael Kaiser Jr. was just, you're 35 minutes from the airport, 55 minutes from downtown Denver, and yet you're like stepping back in time in the Wild West.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of the Whole Story podcast. Robbie here. I wanted to introduce today's show. Had a special opportunity to attend the media day at Rodeo Dunes out in Colorado recently. And what do we do best here is tell golf stories. So we gathered a group of friends to share their stories and their experience from that day, from the time that they have been a part of this Rodeo Dunes story. It's a special property. Michael Kaiser Jr. and others are doing incredible things. Many of you have probably seen recently on social media a brand called Sanborn, which is going to be Rodeo Dunes, Wild Spring Dunes, and Old Shores. So all these Michael Kaiser Jr. projects. Really excited about all those. Very thankful to many friends who have made this possible, including Tom Farrell, who, again, golf is the best. We met Tom in Scotland, and we've gone on some crazy, incredible trips to visit some great properties because of people like Tom. So very thankful to him, thankful for the team at REM PR, their group. They do incredible stuff, like Caroline. She has been great to work with. So without any further ado, let's get to our story where we have a conversation with some special people. We'll introduce them when we get to it to talk about Rodeo Dunes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with a good group of folks, and we are chatting about Rodeo Dunes, something that we all had the experience. We were talking, Michael, I think we figured out that it was almost 2 weeks ago now as we were recording from when we were all on property there for Media Day. And going around the horn, I've got Jonathan Hill, Michael Colander. Am I saying that right?
Colander. Yeah, close enough.
Colander.
You did better than most. Most people go with the colander. I'm not an illustrator.
Not a colander.
Oh, man. Michael with Colorado Avid Golfer. I got that right. Jeff Marsh and Mr. Matt Gibson. Guys, how are we doing this evening? We can't really hide the fact that it's not nighttime when Jeff is sitting in a dark car right now. And he's all in black. Like, people are going to look over and wonder what's happening here.
It's his part-time job. He's a photographer by day, and he does he goes out and finds people who are cheating on their spouses at night. He just sits in dark cars, takes photographs from a long way away.
What's that? You're not that far off. I'm sitting I almost invited you, Matt, the Pinehurst Brewery parking lot, and there's some interesting characters coming and going at 9-something at night
on a Monday.
Just come to my house, man. We could have done it together.
Well, and I know, and you're a good. I've been fiending for some of you're a good cook. Well, I don't know. It looks good on Instagram, but yeah, I should have come your way tonight.
Yeah, don't let looks deceive you.
Yep. Well, that's for a different podcast where we talk about Matt's cooking. Well, guys, I appreciate it. We were all at Rodeo Dunes. Jeff, I know you've gotten an opportunity to go out there a number of times. Michael, I imagine you've been out there, and because of proximity, you've been out there a number of times. But for the rest of us and many others, a couple weeks ago at Media Day was the first time that we got to lay eyes on it in person and check this amazing place out. And so I guess the first question I just want to throw out there, and y'all feel free to chime in. There's no order here, but I want to know first impressions, right? Like when you pull onto that dirt frontage road and you're driving down and you know it's coming, and you get to that temporary clubhouse, the trailer there, what were the first impressions that you had as you pulled up?
I think being a Colorado native and somebody that has seen a lot of golf courses in Colorado, the first impression is this is not Colorado, because we're not supposed to have dunes like that. Out here, we're supposed to have mountains. So definitely a totally different property and just kind of landscape than you're expecting, 30 minutes from the Denver airport.
I'll chime in. And are you ever with people and then they say something which you were thinking, and then I almost feel annoyed that it feels like I didn't have an original thought. Jeff said something which was so prominent in my mind, but we were driving in and he said, "Look how big the sky is," which I realize is such an insane thing to say because the sky objectively is just the same everywhere, right? But you're driving in and it just feels like you can see for hundreds of miles around you. And that was my first initial feeling when we were driving in. It's just I couldn't believe how much I could physically see. And so then we pulled up, and look, I'm with Jeff who knows everyone, and so that was a really cool thing to get to meet everyone. But that was my first initial thought, was just how grand the sky was and how far you could see. And then Jeff said it 45 minutes later, and I went, man, I feel so validated in that thought. So that was my first initial thing, is I just couldn't believe the scale of just the sight and how big it all felt.
Yeah. If Jeff Marsh ever says something that you were thinking, that's definitely good validation. Everybody should know that.
Or it's the voices in your head.
Jonathan, what did you think? What were your initial impressions after we almost turned back on the interstate instead of the frontage road?
We did almost. The lady was mad because I got on or off the on exit. So, but it was fine. We turned on our flashers. For me, the first thing was every part of my childish teenage boy wanted to literally just spin the car around because it was oh, this is loose gravel. This could be a lot of fun. I like the aspect of whenever you pull up, there's nothing there. Right now, and I don't know if they'll keep this. I really hope they do, but there is almost this. Whenever we finally got on the carts and they're driving us back to where the course is going to begin, and you can't see where it is, where you're going. You're wondering. Of course, they were wondering part of the day if they were on the right trails. It's just, you're just going, and then all of a sudden it just pops up at the top, that first tee box with the chairs and the people waiting, and then you walk up. And then you begin to see the expanse because, as you guys have mentioned, there's nothing in the way. You can see all the holes in the way that they're set up. And I just hope that they keep that surprise aspect. Uh, I really enjoy that idea of pulling into something and making that last turn, and then it just appears out of nowhere. And I don't know if they're going to be able to keep that sort of anticipation, but as you're going along, there's these little rodeo guys, the logos on the side, and then there's another one, and you're okay, I haven't gone down the wrong path. And then finally you get there. I just hope they keep that sense of expectation somehow in place.
Yeah, I agree. I thought, and you made that comment, it was kind of like the landman thing, right? You've got all this stuff that you think, I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track. And yes, the logo was there to make sure we were. And then, there's a big reveal, and it's not in the parking lot, which I like that. But I did like the parking lot aspect too, though, because if you think about the rodeo dunes and kind of the Western, the cowboy, the ranch, the rodeo thing, it kind of felt like you were pulling into a stall, right? And you needed to get a rope out and tie your car up so it wouldn't, like a horse, right? It wasn't going to run off. I don't know if that was the intent, but that was kind of the feeling I got. And then for me, we get out of the car and everybody there walked up, and I'm sure excellent training. This is just the dream golf thing and all the stuff that they do. But the hospitality that was there from every single person of, hey, I'm so-and-so, welcome, right? And I know you guys probably got that as well. It's just over the top hospitality. Very well done. All right.
I think the unique thing about that, when Matt and I pulled up, cracked the door into the trailer, and there was 40 people in there. They were doing a welcome orientation. I would say at least 25 of the people in that room, that was the first time they'd ever stepped foot on that property. And then
Wow.
48, not even 48 hours later, there was 40 something media people showing up, showing that type of excellent service. I think that just goes to show whatever they communicated in that orientation, the point got across. And they're just, that they're known for their hospitality. And I think you have to just ooze kindness and welcomeness. Otherwise, you're not going to last. I don't think you're not going to fit in on their properties and just the overall experience. So I think I don't know how they found everyone that they did, but they did a pretty dang good job, creating that first impression for the media and then, turn around the very next day and create a first class, experience for the founders on their opening day. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well said. How are you guys describing it? Yes, we are some of the few that have seen it. So when you tell somebody I went to Rodeo Dunes or, Jeff, people are probably asking you all the time, based on all your videos and photography and stuff, like, how are you describing Rodeo Dunes to them? Like, do you have words that you can describe it?
Well, I'm usually telling people I didn't see much of the golf course, but I saw a lot of the sand and the grass, and I've heard the fairways are really nice. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I spent most of my day knocking sand out of my shoes. The word I use is expansive, and we've had the opportunity to play in places that are like that, to have those experiences. If you're from the Southeast, I know Michael's up there in Denver. Most of our world is surrounded by trees, so there's some sense of depth to what's going on, and there are just so many times that we would get on a tee box and you think, I don't have a club that reaches that far. And then once you hit it, you realize, oh, it's only like 250. So it seems daunting, but it's just expansive, both in the scale of the course itself, but then, as you guys have talked about already, just everything that surrounds it. I mean, I don't know how many acres there were before we even got to the golf course. And that's before they come up, what was it, a 7.5 acre putting green? Like everything is just going to be larger than life. So
I call it the Wild West of golf. I mean, you're in the Wild West, but set in these ancient dunes that, once you get down in the dunes, I mean, Matt said this several times when we were out there. He's from the UK. Like, I feel like I'm in Ireland or Scotland, so it's such a unique, just a dichotomy of like where you are and the site that you're on. And I think that's what made that place so appealing for, Michael Kaiser Jr. was just, I mean, you're 35 minutes from the airport, 55 minutes from downtown Denver, and yet you're like stepping back in time in the Wild West. Um, yeah, that's the only way I could describe it. There's a lot of words that you could use, but for me, that just kind of seems like the fitting descriptor.
Yeah, for sure. It felt like if you cut the holes out and put them in, like Jeff said, I kind of compared them to like Ireland or Scotland, they wouldn't have felt out of place, but it then felt very American. And I mean that in a good way in terms of just scale. Like it was just such a big, expansive golf course. Jeff took a couple videos of me. I was trying to shoot the course on foot and it was just hard. Like it was such a big golf course. But each hole individually, you could cut it out and put it in, Northern Ireland or Scotland or the Republic of Ireland. But then when you like looked around, it was so big. And I think it's a really amazing mix of those like two sort of contrasting styles, I guess.
And it's cool with it's kind of isolating. On each hole, you feel like you are the only person out there, and then you'll just kind of look and you'll see these little specks of people on top of other dunes, and that's like the only time you ever see anybody else. All of the holes are just kind of on their own. There are very few times that a green backs up to another green or a tee box, and you see an actual full-sized person close to you. So it's just, yeah, kind of big and isolated, but it is cool that you feel like you are not in Colorado or even the US. And then you'll just look west and, you can see, you know, thousands of or hundreds of miles of mountain ranges. You see Pikes Peak all the way to Longs Peak. And if you're, come and play in May, they'll be snow capped and just kind of reminds you of where you're at.
Michael, that's kind of what I thought, being somebody from the East Coast and, you tell people that you went to Denver-ish to play golf. Like for me, like I'm thinking, and most people that don't visit out there often think Rockies, right? They think Mile High. They think it's going to be mountain, snow cap, everything like this. And I'm like, no. We were on the east side of Denver. This is totally different. Like, yeah, I mean, I felt like if if they do golf carts, they really should be like dune buggies, right? Like somebody just ramping and jumping these massive dunes. It was, I think Rodeo Dunes is such an appropriate name, but it's going to surprise people when they think I flew into Denver and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Based on maybe at least expectations you might have going into it. Jeff, let me ask this. I know you did another one of your amazing every hole in 4K, and I know you need to check out of here in a second. Tell me about that experience, like from an aerial view, which Michael, I know you guys threw drones up. Matt, I think you threw a drone up, and others did as well. But from an aerial view, what does that look like? We can see pictures and appreciate stuff, but are you seeing and experiencing the course in just a completely different way?
Yeah, I mean, Matt and I actually walked another Core Crenshaw project today at Pinehurst number 11, and we kind of talked about all the above. Some golf courses, you have a really hard time capturing from the ground, and it's not for lack of like texture or detail. It's just the scale. Like how do you capture the magnitude or the essence of a property? And rodeos, it's hard to do that. I mean, at least on this first course, the highest point on the entire property is roughly where course number 3 will be. But there's pretty big dunes out there, but they're not big enough to where you feel like you're up on a mountain. You do get up, to a tee box, and you can kind of like peek over and there's that hole we were just on, or I wonder what hole that is. But man, you get the drone up 20 feet, and it's just like it's a whole different world, and that's where you really start to see the scale. And to go back to your first question, my first impression is it's unique, and it ties into the drone thought. I was there Memorial Day in 23. I was in town shooting some stuff at Cherry Hills for the USAM. I really wanted to see this property. Brandon Carter at Sand Valley connected me with Josh Evenson, who has been the founding member director since day one. And he was like, "Yeah, it's Memorial Day. I'm not around. Feel free to like see what you can see, but you can't really see much from the gate, which is right off of
76.
So when you cross the overpass and you see the gas station and the motel, when you turn left, that's the way that you guys went. If you go right, just on the other side of the gas station, there's a gate. I think it's yellow, or it used to be yellow. That was the original access point to get out to that property. It was locked, and it was kind of late in the day. I knew I didn't have a whole lot of time, so I figured, well, I'll just sit in the car like I am right now and fly the drone. I feel like it took the drone 10 minutes just to get out to the dunes, which you can kind of see from the interstate. I was just like, man, this place is really far out there. And then once it was out there, it kind of all, there's 3,500 acres. It kind of all looks the same when you don't have golf. Every bump in the sand just sort of looked the same. I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what part of this is a golf course, but I wanted to see it better. So 10 minutes of flying the drone back. It was really windy. That's why it took so long. Flew the drone back, landed it, packed up my backpack, hopped the gate. I don't suggest this. And I feel like it was 2 miles. The path that I took, if you look on the map, there's 2 crop circles on the south side of the dunes. So I had to walk all the way around these crop circles. Michael, you might remember this. For some reason in spring of 23, the bugs were horrific. There was like mosquitoes in downtown Denver like they've never had before. I don't know what it was, if it was wet spring. I got absolutely murdered by mosquitoes walking around those crop circles. So it wasn't necessarily one of my more enjoyable adventures, but I finally got out to where the dunes were. Still had no idea at what point in the property I was at. I found out a year later. I walked up to basically the top of 9, the dune above 9 green 10T. And that was when, I mean, I walked up, I think it was probably a 35 to 40 foot dune. You can't see anything until you get up to that point, and then you're looking north, and it's like you're looking at Tatooine or something. It's just a different planet. Dunes, as far as you can see, you can kind of see the Rockies, but for the most part, all you see is dunes and nothing else. No livestock, no houses, nothing. And that's where I was like, oh, this is the Wild West. I'm literally in the Wild West. And if they're putting golf here, it's going to be world class because it's, I mean, already bunkers, ancient windswept dunes. If Bill and Ben have the opportunity to do something here, it's going to be magnificent. And yeah, it was weird. It was weird on media day seeing like the ants walking across the top of the dunes, like people, off in the distance. It looked really cool, but there was a part of me where I was like, oh man, this is like an end of an era. You know, there's very few people that got to experience that property pre golf. But obviously it's exciting too, to see people out there and playing golf. And yeah, it was a trip. And it's only going to get, I mean, that it's going to get bigger and better. They're working on course number 2 and the putting course and the short course. I mean, it's going to go from like 0 to 100 really, really quickly. So if you do have the opportunity to get out there now, like do it. 'Cause it's, there's a trailer, but right after media day wrapped, there was basically a hurricane that ripped through. And I think we all wish we tied our cars off to the, to the hitching post. 'Cause the one structure out there, I thought it was going to fly off like an umbrella. But yeah, you're going to see everything out there. It's, I don't know, hard
Yeah.
to describe it.
When you were out there 3 years ago, were you sneaking around in the all black with the black cowboy hat on as well?
I don't know. I'll have to look at the video. I was trying, I was doing my best to try and
Like
take a video,
Jeff the
but I
Outlaw
was,
out there sneaking around.
yeah, I know I had a raincoat on because I needed something to keep the bugs off. I wish I would have had pants. I mean, it was awful. I was like, if it's going to be like this every day, I don't know how this place can be enjoyable, but I found out that it was kind of an anomaly. But
Yeah.
yeah,
How'd the video turn out? Every hole in 4K.
those are always an adventure. It's just kind of a mad dash because you're working around course conditions, weather, maintenance. I shot the majority of the flyovers in October last year around the rodeo event that they did. But we never really got a good sunset. And most of the mornings, the flags weren't in. Go figure.
Gotcha.
They weren't actually playing golf at that point. So I knew going into this year, I think there were 6 holes that people didn't get to see. So I wanted to fly those because the bunkers were now, cut in. There was flags in. But it's always just like a mad dash, burning through batteries and memory cards and reflying stuff because the sun came out. And but anybody that's flown a drone out there can attest. Every time you take the drone off, it's like, oh, this is sick. Like you're seeing a different world. And
Yeah.
yeah, it
Well,
never gets old.
yeah, for those that might not be able to see the course for a while, highly encourage y'all to go check out what Jeff has done and obviously all the other content that Michael and Matt and everybody else has thrown out there. Jeff, if you need to bounce, feel free, but stick around as long as you want. Matt, let me ask you this: what makes golf in dunes like this so much fun?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know how well versed I am to sort of answer that. I guess like I'll answer it in 2 parts. The first is that so to go back a step, the reason I was out there is Jeff and I have been talking, and obviously I've been doing some work with Bill and Ben out at number 11, and knew Jeff had been out rodeo, and I was really like intrigued to see it. And I love their work, and I've been sort of like deep down the core credential rabbit hole, and they always talk about not touching or trying to move much land. And so Jeff told me at rodeo they really didn't move any dirt, right? And apart from maybe at hole 18, they would like, but for the most part, it's just there and it's just part of the land. And so I don't know what makes playing in the dunes so fun, but again, when you go back to what golf was and what it originated as, like the links land, in terms of like the land which like literally couldn't be used for farming because it linked the, the beach to the farming to grazing stuff. My understanding for rodeo is like this land was part of the ranch which they like couldn't really use, and so it's like this is when we talk about like the origin and like what golf should be. This is what golf should be to me, is like golf which exists and it should be fun, right? It's a game, and I think sometimes we take it so seriously, and that was my overriding emotion when we played Rodeo Dunes. It was just really fun. And that's why I keep coming back to like, it felt like playing in Scotland Island, because you're in like this dunes land, which like isn't really suitable for anything other than, I guess, like playing golf, right? So yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but that's how I think about it for sure.
Yeah. Jonathan, I know you fell in love with kind of the dune style golf when we went to Ireland and got to play Carn. So your thoughts on the dunes here at Rodeo Dunes compared to something like that?
Well, I subjected my caddy once again to finding balls nowhere near a fairway. What I did though enjoy, and Matt, you alluded to this, and Jeff, I think the picture you talked about, you shared a picture around the same time the opening week of, I think it was the picture on that number 9 of where you're on top of it and you can see left and right of it, and then you also showed where now there's golf. And so the 3 or 4 times I got to walk down a fairway, that was the thing that struck me, was it feels like you're somewhere overseas because you could hit the perfect shot and your ball could roll to a place that puts you completely out of position when it comes to even being able to see a green, just because of the lay of the land. And the fact that they didn't do anything about the dirt to make that happen. They literally just said, yeah, this looks good. Let's throw some grass on it. And so I remember one of the shots I actually did hit the fairway, and one of the golfers with us was pretty good. And so he was probably
You can say my
5
name.
feet. It wasn't you. You did have a heck of a round, but it wasn't you. It was the other guy from Texas. Anyway, he was probably 5 feet away from ending up in a really bad position. And I love that aspect. The caddy and I were going back and forth talking about it. The idea that a bad golfer like myself, or someone that's not really good at golf, still had just as much fun and was challenged by bad shots as someone who's a good golfer, because it's not a traditional hit the ball straight down a fairway and now you got a 150 shot in and you know that's going to be your 9-iron choke down. You know what I mean? Like there weren't moments that allowed you to have that sort of just boring golf. You still always had to be thinking through. And for a golfer who shoots in the 90s like I do, it was an absolute blast. Even hitting it from the sand in places where you're like, well, hopefully I get a lie whenever I find my ball. And then also watching Robbie shoot like a 74 and doing the exact same thing, only from the fairway, right? Like
Did you
having
really
to
shoot a
struggle.
74?
76.
76, maybe.
76.
Jeez.
So,
Yeah.
but that was the experience.
I only play well when courses are not rated, and it doesn't help me. So
Listen, he shot a 76 and ended up in the worst position possible on number 18. You shot a double or a triple on that one?
a double. Yeah.
A double. And I don't know how he got out of there. Like, it was impressive for him to do that. So it was a good day. But again, like, it challenged both sides of the of golfers. And so I enjoy that. Like, I want a course that makes someone who's really good make that shot. I'm guessing, Michael, you probably had at least, because Michael's a good golfer, you probably had at least 2 or 3 shots where you're like, I've got to figure this out. Me and the caddy have to talk through this, even though I'm technically 130 yards out, but you got to hit it over with the skull or something like that at one point, or you've got to find, you're on the right side of the fairway. And so you can see a peak of the green, but you got to flight this thing just right. So I find that just really fun golf. And like you said, Matt, it's a game. Like, you could be completely frustrated by it because you're like, well, I'm a 2 handicap, I'm a +2, whatever. And you're frustrated because all of a sudden the course exposes something that you didn't even know needed to be exposed. Mainly that you should just have more fun than being serious about it. But Michael, talk about your stuff, because I'm sure you had at least a moment or two where you were like, crap, I hit that exactly where I wanted to. And here I am. See you, Jeff.
See you, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, the way I've explained it is almost every hole out there you can make birdie or you can make double. Like 18, Robbie, I lipped out a birdie putt and you made double, and then I doubled 12 because I was in a bad spot, and you just kind of got to take your medicine. And if you miss a green in the wrong spot, you're screwed. So you can birdie almost every single hole out there, and and double comes into play really, really quick. And the crazy thing is it's only going to get harder when those greens firm up. Everything gets fast and more linksy. Like right now is kind of the most tame it's going to play, because there were a couple times my ball stopped on the green, and I was like, in a year, like this ball
Yeah.
is going to be gone. There's no way it should have stopped right here, or it's going to end up 15 yards left from here or whatever. So yeah, it's just fun. They're if you hit the shots right, like number one, it puts you right in it. If you're down the left side of the fairway on one, you get a perfect angle into the green. If you miss your spot right, you are completely blocked out and you cannot see the flag. You can't see the green. And there's probably, I don't know, 6 holes like that where you have to
Right.
be in the right side of the fairway. And then every once in a while, Corin Crenshaw put a bunker just in the middle of the fairway right there that you still have to navigate. So yeah, you got to hit your golf ball where you need it to go, but it doesn't mean you can't hit the recovery shot or hit that next shot. It just makes it, a little more difficult.
Yeah, I would say that the one birdie I had when I played it was on 16. Is that the par 4 kind of up the hill? And I just hit a horrid, like not a horrible drive, but just like I kind of flared a drive out right. I was like on the very right edge of the fairway. I had this like horrible lie, and I hit a 7-iron that like peeled around, and I don't think that's a long hole. So the fact that I was hitting 7-iron into that green like shows how bad I hit my drive. And I just, like I said, it like kind of rolled off the dune on the right, and the pin was like, and I hit it to like 3 feet. So one of my worst drives of the day was the one hole that I made birdie on. So yeah, to your point, like you can get out of position, but you're, as with any sort of round of golf, you're only one shot away. But it felt even more so on that golf course where you can really get out of. I thought 4, and so we walked it before we
Yes.
played it. I thought 4 was one of those holes which I was so thankful that we had walked it before. Have played with golf with Robbie and Jonathan, but like I'm an okay golfer, right? I hit a 6-iron on that tee and I never hit irons on par 4s, but I walked the golf course and I was like, if you miss down there, you're going to bring the rough into play. There's a bunker down there. I was like, what a brilliant golf hole. And I hit 6-iron, 9-iron, and walked away with a par. Do you know what I mean? And I thought it was really well designed. There were a bunch of awesome holes out there.
Well, and
Is
you're
that
not
the
even
one with
talking about the
the
green.
grass that cut through the fairway?
Yeah. Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
green is like a kidney bean up there with a mound in the middle of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that hole is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
There are a lot of fun holes out there. So let me ask this: from a design standpoint, we mentioned a few. Is there one that jumps out to you guys that was a favorite?
Well,
I have like 2 thoughts. I have the thought about being as a photographer, like the holes which I remember in terms of like being, a great hole to photograph, and then there are holes which I remember like playing. I think 9 is going to be one of the most photogenic holes. 17 might be one of the most photogenic holes I've ever seen. 17 gets amazing light at sunrise and sunset, and I took that sort of overhead shot, and I think that one is one that I remember, and I played badly. I say badly, I made bogey on it, but I would love to have played it. I would love to play that hole again. I'd love to play all of them again, but 17 was the one that I like really think about. And at least from a photo point of view, I also loved is it 13? It's another sort of short par 4 with a massive dune behind. It might actually be like 12. It's a huge dune right before you get the back-to-back par 3s. That hole is amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, it's cool because there's a lot of little short fours, like 6. The green up there is just diabolical. And again, like when these greens get firm, like they're gonna pin some of these spots that are going to be impossible if you are in the wrong spot. But I think back to the first time. So I was kind of like Jeff, where I was lucky enough. I've been on property 6 times now. So I got to kind of see it go from nothing to having stakes in the ground to having it the land basically just like flipped over to just sand, so you could kind of see the shape, and then grass starting, and then was out there for the first ride, and then, for media day. So it's been very cool to be able to see it evolve. And the first hole that we went on was kind of right kind of where Jeff was, but it was a little more west. It was 8. So when the first time you came in with Josh Evenson, you'd take this road out, and then you just had to climb these massive dunes. First of all, I don't know how Jeff didn't get lost out there and got back to his car, because being out there without a golf course, the dunes are, I mean, you just get lost. But it's like you climb up this mound, and then you come back down, and you stand in the middle of these open dunes. You're like, this is absolutely a golf hole. Like you could see this long par 5, you could see where the green was going to sit, and they can push this tee back as far as they wanted it to go. So seeing that go from nothing to an actual golf hole, and like we've talked about that there's no, I mean, they really did not move any dirt. The only one was on 18 to kind of build up some of the fairway, but seeing the natural shape of that golf course and the way that Corin Crenshaw just built it into that land was so cool. But there were also so many different holes. Like I remember talking to Josh Evenson, and he gave me, a couple different routings that had like 26 holes. And they're like, we don't know how we're going to eliminate, you know, 8 holes off of this, because they were all so good. And what I think my favorite one is 2, that short little par 3. And they didn't pin it, but the right side of that green, if they put the pin there, all you see is the top of the flag. And it normally the wind is behind you on that one. So if they pin it right, and I mean, you literally are going to have like a 5-yard window to land it in, but there's a big bunker behind it that that Josh has kind of coined the sugar cookie bunker, because you're just gonna hit it, and then the sand's gonna come back in and kind of dust you like a sugar cookie. So there's just like that whole, you're just, the first one you're just kind of like, whoa, and then the second one's like, oh, we're in for a ride here.
Jonathan was up on the dune. That was our last hole. He was up on that dune, I think, trying to chip with somebody's right-handed
Cool
club and then
spot.
trying to putt off of that thing. Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's my dune play. I do not have photographic memory of anybody's golf course. Like, we get done with the golf course and I can't tell you what the last hole was like most of the time. So what I remember though is really the par 3s. Every single one of them requires a different club. We've all played the golf courses where like the par 3 is just sort of a thing that happened because you have to get from the one hole to the next, and this is how much land they had. And so I don't know how many times I've gone out and it's like the par 3 is always a 145 or 135 shot. And this one, every single par 3 had its own personality, had its own different club, had its own, as Michael just mentioned, challenges in terms of like, how are you actually going to put a ball near there? And then, as we've all discussed, which I would love to go back and play, the number of times Robbie's caddy, he's a caddy at some other popular golf course nearby my house, he kept reading it like the greens were going to break. I mean, the number, we had putts that were going downhill that would stop. Once the greens come fully in, this place is going to be like, all right, you're going to aim 6 feet to the left, and you're going to get it like a 6-foot pace, and hopefully we don't roll past the hole 18 feet away. Like, it's going to have those types of breaks and movements that I think that's great. I think that's fun. That's the kind of course, whenever you get done, again, no matter how bad or how good you are at golf, you think about it and go, I want to go try that one more time, which I think is the true test of a golf course. If you get done and think, if they let me turn right back around and go back to hole number 1, there's at least 3 holes that I want to go give one more shot at. So I'd like to find more of the fairway next time that we get to play it, where I'm actually playing the golf course and not the sand, but I'll take it for what it was.
Sure.
I'll throw a +1 in for hole 6 as well. That hole is so good. The green is just out of this world good. It was just like, that has to be one of the best modern short par 4s. It is so good.
You say short,
Yeah,
and we got to give Trey Wren a shout out, because they did it closest to the pin on that day, Matt. For anybody that I guess drew or got it on the green closest to the hole, Trey was the only one, and I'm pretty sure they were playing from the tip. So Shout out our buddy Trey Wren for doing that.
Don't let Robbie fool you. Wasn't that the one that you hit within like 5 or 10 feet of the green? Like you
Yeah,
hit it right up to the front.
I did birdie that one. Yep. Not on the green, but yeah. Michael, what'd you got?
I was down right on that one and had a super nasty flop shot up over a ridge, just
Yeah.
disgusting, and
Yep.
then didn't hit my spot and had a 2-putt. But I mean, like you got to hit your drive in probably a 5-yard window. Otherwise, your left is no good and right is no good, and like it just kind of funnels off. And like you said, Matt, that the green complex up there is it, it's crazy. It's so cool. And in 2 years, when that green fills in and it's playing firm and fast, I don't think driver will be the play out there, because I don't know if you'll be able to get a wedge to stop anywhere near it.
No. If you're playing for a score, and that doesn't even talk about the bunkers that surround that one and so
Yes.
many of the other holes.
Yep.
Number 6 to me stands out. All the par threes, like Jonathan said, they stand out to me. And I think this is something based on the fact our group started on hole number 3. And so we looped around, and number 1 was obviously our second to last hole. I love number 1.
Yeah.
And especially because I think about it now as like, that's the starting hole for everybody else, when they go out there, and just the coolness of, you could take it over this like blind shot. The caddy's like, yeah, there's more fairway there. So hit a 3-wood or something, because there's a bunker farther out there that might grab your ball. And then when you're up there at your next shot, looking is slightly uphill, and the green's kind of funky, is in between a couple big dunes. And I just thought, thinking back on it, like how great of an opening hole that is,
Yep.
right? It's a longer-ish par 4, but it gives you some strategy right off the bat. Like, do I take 3-wood? Do I try to bomb a driver and hope I miss a fairway bunker? Just a lot of fun aspects to that one. I think great opening hole. And
Well, you
then,
look right down the gut. You have one of the biggest natural bunkers right behind it. So you're just like you said, in between 2 dunes, and then this just huge natural bunker just right behind it. And it's like, all right, yeah, we're in it now.
Yeah, there wasn't much like tactics, unfortunately, when I played it, because it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds directly into our face. So I had a half set, so I hit driver, and I had like 225 yards in. So I hit driver, hybrid, and then flipped the wedge on, and I think I missed the par putt. So I opened with bogey, but it was playing 40 miles straight into the fan. So yeah, but it's a great opening hole.
yeah.
Well,
And I love the fact that, like, go ahead.
Go. No, I was going to say, when the wind is up there, it's going to be. I stood on 13 when I went out there, when they had like kind of flipped everything, so you could kind of see the holes. And 13 is the first of the back-to-back par threes. And we were out there in November, and when we started kind of the tour of driving around, it was 50 degrees and sunny, so very doable in Colorado. And then all of a sudden it flipped, the wind kicked up, and the temperature dropped. And we were standing on that hole, and you can go as far back, and it's like, I think it's 240 or 250 from the back, and it was dead into like a 40-mile-an-hour breeze, and it's 38 degrees outside. And I honestly don't think you could get driver to cover the ravine up there. And it was like, this is going to, if it's windy out there, it's going to be one of the hardest courses you will ever play, because you will have no control of your golf ball, and you have to have control of your golf ball out there.
Yeah, I love it. I think one other neat fact, and I know that the folks like I haven't been to Bandon, but like I know Sand Valley, you're on the tee box on number 1, and as Tom Farrell said, you're also basically on the tee box for the second course that Jimmy Craig is working on right now. It's kind of a shared opening tee box, which is just so cool, because I can go ahead and picture like so many happy people like showing up to play this thing, and like you got some heading right, some heading left, and like, oh man, it's just going to be such a fun playground. And I think fun is maybe one of the right words that should be described, because if you're not having fun out there, like you shouldn't go out there, because that's what it's there for. Let's wrap this up. And I want to ask this question again, thinking of Bandon and Sand Valley. Those 2 properties have extremely high reputations. Like everybody wants to go there. It's on, booked out for years. Will Rodeo Dunes live up to that hype and the expectations that, let's say, its older brothers have?
What I think their marketing person said they had over 300,000 inquiries for people that want to go there. It'd
Doubled
be
it.
interesting.
It was 600,000 in 3 days.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was
they were
Sierra, she's doing a great job.
sold out for
Robbie
45 years is what they told me.
Robbie and I stopped for Dr. Pepper at the gas station, and we were literally thinking, do these people have any idea what's about ready to happen? Like, if I could buy that motel right now, that might be a good idea. I might see if I can buy that motel right now.
You
Because
may want to burn it
maybe.
down first.
No. We're keeping it as is. We're just going to put some paint on it and people will still pay. No, I'm just joking. But I mean,
that gas station's going to make bank for sure.
That exit is about ready to become a center hub for the number of rounds and people that will be coming and going as a part of that. And so there's a part of me that I've never been to either of the two, right? Bandon or Sand Valley. I feel extremely fortunate to be able to experience a golf course. And I've done that a couple times before a course is fully developed into what it's going to be. To be at a place like that before it becomes what it's going to be. Just pure golf. That's it. Like there's nothing fancy about it. They've got a portable toilet, they've got a portable clubhouse. They didn't even really know how to get us to the first tee or get us back from the fourth tee whenever we were driving. And so like just to be able to go out and enjoy the course as it truly is without it being surrounded by all the niceties that will come, which is interesting to think that right now, if I were going to tell someone, is it worth the trip, even though you might drive an hour from downtown and there's nothing there for you, and like you're going to have one cooler that's going to give you a Gatorade in a can, would it be worth it? 100%. Like, go do it. It would be absolutely perfect to go and play the golf course as it is. I hope they treat that space in that area I hope they do as well at putting the golf course into a space without unearthing things, and as they do for the rest of it, that it will feel the right way whenever you still pull up into the parking lot.
Yeah, just knowing the team that's out there, Tom Farrell, Josh Evenson, Michael Kaiser Jr., that they do not do things halfway. They're like not even 90%. Everything they're doing is 120%. You can see it like early on in this. And what differentiates Rodeo from Bandon and Sand Valley is the ease, right? I mean, like we talked about, it's 35 minutes from the airport. So you can come in, you can play, and you can fly home. Like Matt, he was out there for a little bit the morning of media day and grabbed an Uber. I don't know if you caught an Uber in Roggen, Colorado, but got an Uber back to the airport and had an afternoon flight. Like you can't do that in Bandon. You can't do that at Sand Valley. And just talking to the team out there and being up there kind of as much as I have in the last 2 years, seeing what it has done and how quickly they are moving on that stuff, but how spectacular it is and just the land itself. Yeah, it's gonna exceed the hype. And course one is, Corn Crenshaw, like Matt's talked about, the way that they just build golf holes it's just like anything. It's not like anything else. The natural way of doing it. And Jimmy Craig learned from them, and he's building number two. And number three is going to be the championship course in the biggest dunes. So like, I don't think they can. I don't think you can miss out there just based off of where you're at, the land, and being a Colorado guy, no humidity. You guys can all speak to how much humidity kicks your butt.
Damn.
No humidity. Yeah, we don't have much oxygen out here, but the no humidity part is stellar too.
Matt, any other thoughts on how it will live up to expectations?
I will just add that I couldn't get an Uber, but Aiden did give me a lift back to my hotel, and I got an Uber from my hotel. So I'm sure in a few years' time there will be some form of cab system. Yeah, it's honestly kind of a hard one for me to answer because I've not done Bandon, I've not done Sand Valley, and I'm going to Bandon for the first time in August. And I have to it's at least offer the thought with my Pinehurst hat on a little bit, you know what I mean? And I am around a golf resort, a successful golf resort every day, and I like see how these things operate. And yeah, I mean, everything's there. The land is there. The people are there. And so, yeah, I can't see a world where it's not a home run. It already is a home run. And I think the thing that we kind of touched on, look, the golf course is obviously fantastic. Jeff kind of spoke about this at the start, but the people really are amazing. And that's why he spoke about, like, hey, I actually got a lift to my hotel because I couldn't get an Uber. I'm not joking. 15 different people offered to drive me back to my hotel. And that is like will always be, in my opinion, at the heart of what makes a place really, really, truly special. And yeah, the golf course is obviously fantastic. Bill and Ben don't miss. The topography out there is wild. But just a shout out to everyone who I met for the first time and left and felt like I was part of the family. I thought it was amazing. So shout out to everyone there for sure.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did get to experience Sand Valley last year, and makes me really, really excited for what's going to be coming there in Colorado at Rodeo and the other future properties. But no, the people you talked about, everybody, I think, but Tom Farrell, Kaiser's, having Clark Willard there. Clark is the man, one of the nicest guys in the world. And then Michael Brewer's the superintendent. They are crushing it, and his team. We met Sierra, who is Jonathan, the marketing person. You mentioned Josh, and just everybody there. Again, once you get on property, you feel like, Matt, just like you said, like your family, right? Or that you've been friends for a long, long time. And with that kind of mindset and attitude, like, this place is going to be special, and people will be putting it on bucket list for a long, long time. So any final thoughts that you guys have, or one last word of encouragement to somebody? They did say you need to make sure you're on the insider list. I think it's if you go to rodeodunes.com, you need to sign up for the insider. And yes, like Michael said, it's sold out for a couple decades now. But that's when they'll start releasing tee times here shortly for 2027. But any final comments or thoughts on why people need to put it on the bucket list? Michael, I'll start with you as a Colorado guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about just even I'll just kind of pitch Colorado a little in this is I mean, you guys got to see it. You can fly into Denver. You can go play, you can drive an hour and go play mountain golf, get the true altitude, big, big mountain backdrops, ball goes really, really far. You can drive an hour and play desert golf, and then you can drive an hour and play dunes golf. So like if you're looking for a trip to hit just all of the golf, like Colorado kind of has it, and it's showing because golf is continuing to boom out here. But the cool, every single person out there did not want to be anywhere else. The workers, that is where they wanted to be. The caddies, that is where they wanted to be. And obviously the media and the people playing, that is where they wanted to be. And like that just makes it such a special place. And I just don't know if the newness and kind of the specialness of that is going to wear off for a long, long time, like it is at Bandon. I've been lucky enough to go out and play Bandon, and it's the same thing. Like everybody has a smile on their face. Everyone is out there doing exactly what they want to do. No one wants to be somewhere else. And that's how this is going to be. Like it is a place that, listen, you're going to play golf. You're not going to go to the spa. You're not going to, like, yeah, you're going to probably have some really good food, but that's just to refuel you to go back out and then go spend an hour and a half on the putting green and then go play the short course. And like it is a true just golf trip. And if you want to do that and go play in the mountains and go, like, you can do that out here, which is what makes rodeo different from Bandon and Sand Valley. It's just the access to everything else. Like you can go play 18 holes, come back and go to a Rockies game and drink a beer and watch the sunset over the Rocky Mountains and watch the Rockies lose 19-6, because that's how bad the Rockies are at baseball right now. But the location makes you feel so isolated, but you're really not that far from everything else that you're able to, enjoy downtown Denver, and get up into the mountains if you wanted, and then just be right where you want to be.
Yeah. I give a quick shout out because you mentioned caddies wanting to be there. My guy Shane, and then Jonathan had lamb chop, but also our buddy Ricky, who I met at Sand Valley a year ago, and he was saying then, like, I am going to rodeo. Like, I want to be in Colorado caddying at this place because he knew how awesome it was going to be, and it was great to catch up with Ricky out there. So, Jonathan, you made the same comments about Colorado or Denver being a destination place because of the few different places we got to play. So, echoing Michael's thought, what are your thoughts just to add on to that being a destination for golf trip?
Yeah, I was almost going to say the exact same thing that Michael said, in the sense of, if you have an opportunity to book the trip to Rodeo Dunes, regardless of how many golf courses they have, and everyone says this, but it's true, like, add an extra day on both ends and find a local course. I know Matt got to play Colorado Golf Club. We played Fossil, one of the most fun courses we've ever played. You can go teach caddies how to be caddies over at Common Grounds. Like, there's so many places that you can experience golf in extremely good public and private spaces that there's no reason. We were talking about the fact that if I were going to put together a destination golf course for only public courses, Denver goes on the list. Like, Denver is probably top of the list now of how many different public courses could we play that aren't your destination locations. But rodeo is just like, I don't know if it's the Sunday or the cherry on top, but either way, I'd want to go back to Denver and play golf at all the spots that we visited and find two more. That was the experience that was the experience and the feeling that I had for it.
And I bet you could check out Colorado Avid Golfer to help plan that trip. They
That's
probably have
right.
a few
Yeah, come on
suggestions
out.
for you, right?
You're always invited.
Yeah.
You're always invited, Jonathan. Come,
Always
come
invited.
hang out and show you some
We've got
nuance.
we can stay at Howie's basement.
That's
Yep.
right. That's right. Sleepover.
Matt, final thoughts?
Yeah, I can't speak to the sort of the Denver or the Colorado aspect, but I'll speak about like a little bit about why I was out there, which was Bill Core and Ben Crenshaw. And obviously I've gotten to know them or see them and work with them a little bit at number 11. And I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm a big movie fan. You know, I love my cinema. My mother went to drama school years ago. And so, you know, I kind of equate it to like my favorite film directors, right? So when Christopher Nolan releases The Odyssey, I'm going to go see The Odyssey in IMAX. When Denis Villeneuve releases the new Dune movie, I'm going to go see the new Dune movie because I know that they have like earned that level of respect of just like the highest level. And when I think about Core and Crenshaw, that's like the level that they're at now in terms of like how I think about it in terms of, look, I wasn't a big golf architecture like I'm going to say nerd, but I'm not even sure that's the correct word for it. I just would play the golf and I wouldn't really think about it. And I've seen and been a lot closer to it. And I have a far, far greater appreciation for it. And now it's kind of like, you know, when you are young and you start getting into movies to like complete the circle and you watch like Kill Bill. And then you're like, man, I got to go watch every Tarantino movie now. And so for me, it's like, I need to go see every core Crenshaw course that exists. And for me, this is like the newest like masterpiece that they've made. You know what I mean? And this is so that's how I think about it. And that's how I got out there. I just said to Jeff, like, I gotta go see this thing. And yeah, it's amazing. And to kind of like make that one-to-one analogy, like when Nolan releases a movie, it's not going to be bad. When Villeneuve releases a new movie, it's not going to be bad. When Core Crenshaw make a new golf course, you know it's going to be pretty spectacular. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think the combination, like let's say Nolan makes a movie and it's got, you know, any of the major Cillian Murphy, right? Like if it has him in it, like the combination is you know it's going to be extra, extra good. So you got Core Crenshaw, you got Michael Kaiser Jr. and that team. It's just going to be epic, right? So absolutely great thought there, Matt. Guys, I appreciate it. This has been fun. It was awesome to get to hang out with you guys out in Colorado for a little bit of time at a beautiful place that's only going to get better. Highly, highly encouraged. And I think you've heard everybody here talking about it. Go check out what Rodeo Dunes is all about. Again, you can look at rodeodunes.com, follow them on all the social channels, look at any of these guys' social feeds, and you will see some great stuff And yeah, go check out golf in Colorado. For Matt and Michael and Jeff and Jonathan, this is Robbie. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys later.